All right, and welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and thank you, as always, for joining me on the show. I am just very appreciative of all of you that tune in to listen. And it's not just my appreciation, but even the guides that come through, the different ascended masters, they all really appreciate it. They truly do. And I was talking to them about this morning, and they were like, on your next podcast, can you please talk about how people can astral travel and how people can connect in different dimensions? So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today is astral travel and connecting with spirit in different dimensions. So again, as a really quick review, remember that we obviously live in 3D world, right? 3D reality, which is based on the frequency in which it holds this reality together. So that frequency, we can picture it like in grade 8 science. Remember, we all learned that day that all matter vibrates, right? All matter vibrates. The chair that you're sitting on is vibrating particles of matter that vibrate at a certain speed. Same with the phone that you use. Same with your physical body is particles held together by vibrating matter at a certain frequency. And there's a frequency range that is third dimensional reality, right? So we could say from like 3.0 to 3.9 is the range of 3D frequency. I'm not saying it's actually that number, but I'm talking about 3D, third dimensional reality. As soon as you move past that into 4.0, you're hitting fourth dimensional reality, and so on as you go into fifth and sixth and seventh, and however high, however high you go. Now, with moving into different dimensional realities, it's about increasing your frequency rate. That's what allows you access into those higher realms. Otherwise, spirit has to come down into our reality, which is actually hard. It's not easy for spirit to come down into 3D reality and manifest, which is why we don't often see spirits in 3D. If ever you see a ghost, like I've said before in past shows, it's really impressive that that ghost was able to push their frequency to such a dense frequency, because 3D is actually pretty dense, that they can only really push out an image or a snapshot of a moment in time. And that's why we usually see them like a floating head or a floating torso, and they have a weird look on their face, or they can only repeat a certain pattern. It's not that usually they're trying to scare us. It's actually kind of the best they can do, which is why spirit will usually try and come through dream state, because in dream state, we are already in the astral realm and much higher frequency. So when spirit tries to come down, they will then try and give us messages through like flicking lights, because again, they're blending with a faster frequency of electricity, which allows them to do that. Songs on the radio, animals, they can have animals show up for us because animals really get the frequency of spirit. They can easily connect with it. But what you can do though in increasing your frequency is any healing that you do of self, where you let go of baggage that has been holding you back, really opens you up to be able to communicate in those higher frequencies. It makes space. That's the beautiful thing. Think of it like, they're showing me right now, think of it like a hot air balloon. If you have a ton of weight in the basket, it's going to take more hot air to raise the balloon, to raise the basket off the ground. But if you do any healing that you do of any kinds, whether it's ancestral, whether it's past life healing, whether it's this present life healing, any kind of energetic healing that you do helps to take out those weighted bags that are in the bottom of the basket, right? Which allows more lift. It's easier to lift up your frequency. So healing is a really, really big part of it. And you'll feel that. That's why after we do some sort of healing and we release something, we feel lighter. We feel lighter because our frequency is allowed to kind of pop up a little bit. And we're like, oh, that's better. It's not a burden. And the higher our frequency goes, the more connected we can feel with ease to spirit and that spirit realm. As well, what you put into your body has a real big effect. So for example, if you go on a big bender weekend, a party weekend where you're eating crappy food and you had a few too many drinks, well, you may find that it's harder for you to tune in, to meditate, to reach those higher frequencies after that, because what that's done is that's brought your frequencies down. Now, am I saying don't ever party and don't eat crappy food sometimes. No, you totally do you. And sometimes it is fun to just let loose a little bit and just flow with life. Christmas time is a great example of that. A lot of people just kind of want to indulge, and that's fair, absolutely fair. But if you're wanting to really connect into spirit, recognize how that has an impact on you. And if you have a busy weekend of Christmas events and all of that, don't expect to be able to connect into spirit really well on Monday morning. It doesn't mean you might not be able to, but just in case, think of what you have been doing. Your physical body is the carrier or the embodiment, the densest part of your spirit. And so if that gets extra dense, it's going to pull the frequency of your spirit down a little bit. So, I mean, in that case, all you do is you bring in high vibe fruits and vegetables, lots of water back into your energy, some meditation, recalibrating your frequencies, like I've shown you guys in those videos about understanding dimensional frequencies. That helps to bring your energy up. All of these things, intentions, how you speak to yourself within your own mind, how you have healed, how you are healing, and what you put into your body, those things all affect your ability to communicate and get up into the higher realms. And I know this for myself too. It's definitely my experience as well. If I have a lot on my plate, if I'm really burdened by something, it is hard for me to get my energy up high enough to connect clearly. So check that first. It really, really helps. Even vitamins and minerals. Like if your physical body is vibrating and running at its most efficient capacity, you will have so much more ease connecting into those higher realms, connecting into spirit. So food for thought, literally. So that's the first part. Now, the next part is when you do connect up and you are going to astral travel, you want to make sure that you're aiming for 5th dimension or higher. Because remember, 4th dimension is really that kind of highway space between 3D world and higher spirit world. So within 4th dimension, kind of like that hallway, it has a lot of potential for all kinds of spirits, whether they be really good spirits or pesky spirits, or things that just can kind of slow you down. If your aim is to go to that higher dimension right away, then you'll pretty much land there. So aim in your intent, in your mind, say, I want to go 5th dimension or higher. And then you don't really get caught in 4D. And that's a good thing. Now, in terms of astral travel, now those of you that can meditate easily already and gain really beautiful visuals specifically, you will probably be able to astral travel quite easily. And so what that is in the case of meditation, and I'll talk about dreams in a minute, but in the case of meditation, what you want to do is get yourself into that higher state energy that you should recognize by that point if you're aware of it. If you're not, in meditation, you want to go somewhere to start. You want to create a sacred space in meditation. Maybe for you, it's a mountaintop. Maybe for you, it is by a river. Maybe it's in a cabin. Maybe it can be many different places, but find a sacred space in the higher realms first, and you can create it. For example, one of mine is on a beach. Another one of mine is actually on a mountaintop. And that's where I can go first. And from that point, then you can launch off into astral. And now when I say astral, some people are like, what do you mean? Like where? I'm talking like spaces beyond this planet, different dimensions, different planets, different galaxies, different kinds of beings you're interacting with. This is astral travel. This is conscious soul travel that you are aware of when it's happening, because this is where I come back to dream state. We astral travel a ton in dream state. We really do. We just recognize it though as dreams. And in part of that dream state, we also sometimes muddle around our own conscious thoughts of things that happen in the day. And there's a lot of things happening all at one time. But we naturally astral travel. We naturally leave our bodies. It doesn't mean we disconnect, but we leave our bodies and we travel and explore and do things. And sometimes when you come back from a dream and you wake up in the morning and you feel it was so incredibly vivid, like ridiculously vivid, is usually because your soul was very, very present there. And one of those is an example of one time I woke in the morning and I was like, I swear I was in China in my dream. I could feel it. I could feel the temperature. I was standing in this courtyard by this bridge, like I could feel everything. And I knew that I was connecting into actually being there. And I could feel this weird soul draw in the morning as I was waking up, pulling all the rest of my energy back into the embodiment where I am now. And so that was kind of in dream state, but I have since learned how to be able to do that. And almost, it's not quite by location, but we'll just stick with astral travel. But I have learned how to be able to do that in meditative state now, where I can be consciously aware of being somewhere. And sometimes that is consciously being able to astral travel or astral project to somewhere else in your city, somewhere else in your home, somewhere else in the world, and somewhere else on different planets. It's amazing what you can do when you start to tune into this. So one way that you can practice this idea is start with seeing if you can astral travel to somewhere else in your home or in your community, or maybe if you have a friend who lives in another province, let them know, I'm going to try and astral travel to you and see what I can get. And when you're in meditation, or if you choose to still do this in dream state, as you're setting it up, ask your spirit guides to help you consciously astral travel to that place. And when you get to that place, see what you notice. Because say you say to your friend who lives in another province, you say, I'm going to try and astral travel to you in meditation into your living room, move something around and let me see if I can notice it. And so you astral travel to your living room, to their living room, and you notice what is there. And suddenly you see, maybe she put a pink stuffy elephant on the coffee table. It seems weird. And you're like, what? But then when you come out of it and you say to her, listen, did you move a pink stuffy onto the coffee table? And she might say, yes, I did, but it's actually kind of purple. But still, you saw it. You saw something different. And what you're doing by practicing this is you're making that conscious link in your brain and your spirit to create a pathway that you can actually accomplish this. And this is how people have done it from a long time ago. This is how they astral project to different spaces. And I've had to do this before. I remember one time, and I think I've told this story on the podcast maybe a year and a bit ago when I had my husband on. He went on a hike, and at one point his GPS wasn't working. He was supposed to check in every day, but then there was a series of 5 days where he didn't check in. And so naturally I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Everyone's wondering what the heck is going on. And at the time, I didn't recognize my ability to astral project or astral travel specifically. I mean, I'd done it in dream state. It had just randomly happened. But in this case, it was under duress that I pulled all my energy together and I was like, where is he? And it's like I could feel my energy go boom and find him on top of this kind of cresting point on this mountain that he was hiking. And I could see the shirt that he was wearing and the backpack and the way he was carrying it. And I was like, okay, I think he's okay. But then of course, I'm also in this panic state of wondering if he's alive or not. Did I make that up? Did I this? Did I that? Then when he finally did connect with me and call me, and after I was like, where have you been? After that, then I said, on this day at around this time, were you on this mountain crest and it was brown rock and you were wearing this shirt and this and this and this and this and this? Were you there? And he's like, yeah, I was. I totally was. And for me, that confirmed that I was able to astral project. Now, the experience of panic and fear helped me push and pull all my energy together and push it out to find him. But what I realized is that I can also do that sometimes not in a fear state. And if I can do that, so can you guys do that. And when I connected with my guides and we talked about it, they're like, the same thing as what happens in dream state. But in dream state, we all naturally allow our bodies to go wherever. But we can start to build that bridge of astral traveling by consciously choosing to do or go to a place. So that's why I'm saying for you guys is consciously choose to try something in a different room. Have somebody move something in your living room and you stay in your bedroom and see what you can notice that's different. And when you first start astral projecting like that, or the astral travels, you might not see detail. Everything might look hazy at first. Everything might look black and white or sepia tones. It might not be color yet, or you may just see shadows of things in it. But again, the more you do it, the more you build more connector pieces that build that bridge between the two things. So I definitely recommend you guys trying it. We all have this ability. Again, when you are doing this, ask that you be doing this in fifth dimensional consciousness, skipping over that 4D highway. Ask that your guides be with you to help you, and then see what you get. Some of you might be really good at this. Some of you, it may take a bit more time, but it's something fun to try. And the guides and the ascended masters are saying now is the time for people to be able to build these bridges, to be able to really open up their consciousness, open up their conscious abilities as well. Now is the time. And again, like we said, November is about these powerful new beginnings, and we are moving into these powerful new beginnings. So be curious about where your gifts can actually lead you to, what can open with that. And also recognize that there is a beautiful safety here. And I want to say this. There is a limitation on this ability to spy on people. And now I know that like the Russians hired people to try and do this astral projection for the sake of gaining insights and intel, but there is a limitation on true insights with this, just like there is with mediumship. And what I mean by that is in a mediumship reading, if somebody asks me about someone, say I have someone named Joe who is asking me to check in on Jane, and Jane is still alive and on this planet. The spirit world will not give me information on her in a way that I could spy. If there is something pertinent to Joe, like say Joe's worried about Jane's health and Jane's health is good, they will say Jane is healthy, it's okay. That's fair and that's fine. But if Joe wanted to know something very detailed about Jane that is not, it's not fair for him to know this, they will not give it. They will not give it. So it is not done in the purpose of spying on someone else, gaining intel, gaining access behind the scenes. It's not about that. This is building bridges for you to further your access to consciousness, not to dupe. So what that means is in your astral travels, you will not be able to access or gain insights of things that are not meant to be yours. So just keep that in mind. This is all done in the highest light, from the light of source, in compassion and kindness, harmony, peace, love. This is nothing dark or anything like that. It's just about expanding the human consciousness. So I hope that excites you guys. I was really excited to share that because I thought, wow, is this ever great that we're moving into this heightened ability? And so again, you might find this heightened ability in meditation state, or you may find if you purposely set an intent to do this in dream state, you may wake up in the morning with really vivid details of things. And I encourage you, if that's the case, after your meditation or after your dreams, write it down as soon as you can before you forget it. Because when we spend time in those higher realms and then we come back to 3D, it starts to kind of slip away from us. So if we write it down, it makes it concrete in our experience. So I hope that helps you guys. Let me know how it goes. I would love to know in the comments, or even if you want to connect with me on the Avalon Spirit Facebook group, that's a great place to share insights of this as well. And for everything else, you guys check out avalonspirit.com. There's lots of great information in there to help you on your path. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're enjoying it, please do subscribe and share. And I will be back for more insights and all of that goodness. And as well, you guys, this week, check out Spirit Coffee Talk on Friday on the Avalon Spirit YouTube page as well. There'll be some great insights and fun stuff that comes through that as well. So have a wonderful rest of your week, everyone.